now, so we might have the sound effect of a cat landing on the floor here shortly.
You might, and me giggling hysterically. So yeah, you'll know.
Um, so yeah, welcome back. I had a episode with a spider coming out of the garage.
Yeah, but people don't realize we live in the woods. You shine a flashlight, and that's one of the things. The first thing she tells me is like, "Oh, take the flashlight out and shine it in the woods." And I'm like, "What am I looking for?" She's like, "Reflections. Look for reflections." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm seeing. What are they, like rabbits or something?" No, it's spider eyes. I'm like,
Okay,
bitch.
to be fair, spiders really don't freak me out that badly, but the other night coming out, I was already kind of done with the evening to begin with. So when I opened the door, one of the yard cats was there and she started screaming at me, and as I walked out, I was greeting her. I was on the phone with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I scream because I feel something brush my leg, what I originally thought was just a plant. And I look down and there's a wolf spider on me. So I scream, I like do this weird hi-ya thing with my leg. It falls off. Cat goes running. I'm looking around to see where the spider went. Cat comes back and starts meowing at me again. It's on her tail.
And she's like yelling at poor Parts, which we call her
Poor
Parts because she's
parts.
a calico that looks like she was assembled the last day of the cat factory.
I'm like, poor parts is laying on the thing, looking at me like, why are you screaming at me? Because it was pieces that had it on her tail. And I'm screaming. I finally make it inside because she like bogarted the steps up to the camper for a moment.
Which they do.
And I didn't want to have the spider on me again. I have my hands full. I have my mom on the phone. There's water in my other hand, and the keys are in my other hand. I'm like, my hands are full. I cannot get the spider off of me if it comes on, and I cannot get it out of the camper if it goes in. And then I'm going to have a whole nother debacle with Salem, who will probably get it on her and then wander around chasing me, going, Mommy, why don't you love me? Because she's more invasive.
Considering after what she pulled with the damn centipede in the trailer. Yeah.
However, I think Salem was pretty much over me by the end of that day because I had like kicked her, stepped on her, and like just completely battered my poor cat by the end of the day. Not intentionally.
No.
She's just been underneath me like crazy lately, and I feel bad because I almost knocked her ass out this morning too. She's just having a bad time. It's that time of the
Poor
month.
kitty.
Poor kid.
God. Poor
So
kid.
I get inside there. I tell Dad what's going on. I hang up with you, and he goes, "I didn't close the windows." And I go, "God damn it. Okay, well let's go
Oh,
outside.
damn
Let's
it. Now I
close
have to
them
go
real quick."
back out there.
So I'm like, I go down the steps. We go out, and Pieces is sitting at the bottom steps, so I like lunged over the steps to get away from her because she's still got it on her tail. And Dad's sitting there going like, Pieces, just fucking eat him, man. Just eat it. Get inside the garage.
It's crunchy.
Start closing down windows and shit. Oh, I forgot to mention that I threw like one of the miniature ones, the little little midgets,
The
my
orange,
freaking babies, the kittens.
the
I
orange kitty.
grabbed an
Get
orange
it.
cat and I threw it at her to have him try to get it off. Um,
Oh,
we come back in here and we're closing all the windows down, and as we're coming back through my little office space that I have set up over here, there's a little frog on the side of my air conditioning unit. And it's looking at me and looking at Dad. I'm like, I'm gonna save this frog.
famous last words.
To which Frog starts hopping around like crazy. Dad
You're
looks
not
at me
saving
and
me, bitch.
goes, Dad goes, Are you afraid of a frog? I'm like, No, I haven't freaking caught one since I was like 6, okay? Give me a break.
The long dry spell with insects and yeah.
Like frogs and things. So eventually this frog like gets himself in a corner and like gets himself like backed up and like looking at
You
me
can't have me.
like, you gonna try it again? You gonna try to do it again? So I gotta pick him up and he jumps, and at that point I'm like, you know what? I tried. You found your way in, you'll find your way out. Best of
Or
luck
you'll
to you.
find Noodle.
Or you'll find Noodle, who is still somewhere in the garage.
She looks around.
I'm never sure because sometimes he's in the carpet, and I'm like, "What you doing there, buddy?"
God.
Because it's hard to see a black snake against really dark brown. So,
Yeah.
but I did get the frog out earlier today. He was on the side of my little sorta potty that my parents got for me that I refuse to use because I am like, nope, I need an actual toilet. I'm sorry. You guys bought it for me so I didn't have to walk into the camper. I'm like, you know what? 10 steps is not going to kill me. I can make it. Although there have been some close calls when I've locked the door. And I'm like, please unlock.
I know, and you're doing that cross-legged, I gotta go, and then your cat's like, Mom, let me weave in front of you, and you're like, no, I will kick you.
I will kick you. Please get out of the way.
And
That
in
and
all
she's,
reality, we
oh my
actually
God.
bought that for your aunt and uncle when they were staying with us for the eclipse, if they
Oh,
needed a
okay.
toilet, so they didn't have to come running in and wake us up. So, but regardless, we do have a sort of potty.
Well, I mean, on the opposite side of things, poor, poor Salem. At the same time, a little pissy with her because she has developed this habit of sitting on the toilet lid until her cabinet door is open. And she refuses to let you use the bathroom until said cabinet door is open. She stationed herself there for a good 2 hours the other day. I'm like, I just tried to
Hmm.
wait her out and eventually I couldn't anymore. I went to move her and she got all pissy with me. I'm like, God damn, kid.
I have one that every time we flush the toilet, she has to jump up there to see what's going round and down.
Oh, yeah.
She's so weird.
Say used to do that too up until she fell in.
Yeah, I remember a couple of calls of, yeah, Mom, I gotta wash the cat. She fell in the toilet.
Yeah.
Mine hasn't done that yet, knock on wood. So, yeah.
Just white. And yours is
I
white,
know.
so it's
As
going
I
to be
sit here,
much more visible.
waiting for her, because she's rolled up on top of the mattress,
Mm-hmm.
but her ass is hanging off of it, and she has a tendency to stretch like you do when she sleeps. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for her just to take a dive off the damn mattress. So yeah,
Yeah. No, poor
Katie and her
Salem.
insects.
Poor Salem has been going through it for the last 3 days. I almost took her out this morning too. Like I said, I went to get out of bed and she was laying up against my leg. And I flopped my blanket over top of her and then I went to move my other leg forward. And Dad yelled at me. He was like, Salem's there, Salem's there.
Poor Salem. She's like, that all just happened, man.
Yeah, I uncovered her and she sat up like a meerkat, like, what the fuck just went on?
Yep. In defense of being around Salem, she also likes to try to climb up your nostril.
Oh, God.
I don't know why, but yeah, I woke up at one point and I had this cat trying to pry open my right nostril with her fucking mouth, and I'm like, the hell, Salem, it's not your mom. It's like, oh, my mistake, my bad. She goes tip topping off, and then about 2 hours later, she wakes me up the same way. I'm like, okay, this is not cool, Salem. Please don't.
You need to
Like, good
stop.
lord. You can't, I can't. I only got one nostril right now. Why are you trying to go up the one that's actually functioning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, goofy cat.
Oh. I think that's all I have for banter today. It's the spider
Yeah.
story from hell. I'm really not
No, you got
terrified of spiders, but I was not having it. And then trying to flick it off because it was literally just crunched up on her. It
But it wasn't
it
alive. It
wasn't
was just the
alive. It
husk.
was the husk of it. I'm
It was
like,
just somebody had
oh.
molted, and then she's like, "Where the fuck is the one that just molted? He's got to be bigger and badder."
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I'm going to bed. I'm done for the evening. Good night.
I have natured way too much today.
I have natured way too much today. No, that would be the day that Noodle first showed up. I had way too much nature that day.
I don't know. I think that friggin' centipede pretty much did me in. And
You
your
know, I
cat
don't
going,
see
"Look,
them as
Grandma, look what
often.
I found."
I don't see them as
Huh?
often as I do the spiders or the snakes or things like that.
Scorpions.
Scorpions. I'm like, I'm not
Evidently,
scared of scorpions, but they're definitely one of those fuckers that I look at them and I go, you deserve to die. Get off of me. Go away.
I was gonna say, we've lived down here for over 10 years, and I've seen carcasses of scorpions. I've never seen a live one. But evidently, we built our house on a scorpion nest in Arkansas. of which I didn't even know they had them in Arkansas. So,
I
learned
knew that they
something.
had them
Granted, I
here.
also didn't know they had friggin' the biggest tarantulas in the United States in Arkansas.
Like,
Of
it's
course they
between
do.
our chocolate tarantula and the one that's in Texas. I don't know which one that one is, but it's between those two for the two largest in the country.
I, as long as I don't see one, it's all good.
Hmm.
I'm good.
Oh, I bet they're
So I've only
cool
seen
looking.
one. Seen one tarantula here, and he was made the mistake of being on the shooting range. And I say past tense, made the mistake of being on the shooting range.
Did you shoot a tarantula?
Oh, of course I did. It was too close.
It was too close.
Believe me,
God.
when I
Meanwhile,
when
I
I
had
was
one
up
in
in
my backyard in Arizona that she'd come up onto the porch, and every time I see her, I'm like,
Ooh.
Zoe, honey, you can't be here. And I'm like, I pick her up and take her up onto the wash.
Oh, hell no. Oh, no, no. If you're gonna be outside of my house, you stay outside of my house. I don't want to see any visible. God, remember the flippin' wolf spiders we used to have in Colorado?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, they
Oh,
they grow 'em bigger
don't.
down here, let me tell you.
Oh, I don't want to know that because man, we used to have them horrible in Colorado to the point where this is why I don't like grass is because literally you would stand in our backyard and you would watch the friggin' grass move because of all the grass spiders and all that.
Hmm.
So yeah, when I'd go out to garden, I'd make sure I wet everything down first so that, the spiders would get pieced the fuck out of there so I didn't have to deal with them anymore. And the poor lady behind us was trying to mow her lawn, and all the spiders were running out of our area, going into her area, and she's like, and she's, "Will you stop scaring the spiders out? I'm running. There's guts and legs and shit all over the place."
There's
I'm like,
carnage over
"Bummer."
here.
Like, bummer. Didn't bother me one bit. Oh no, I don't do spiders. No. Mm-mm.
You're moving to the perfect place then, because I see at least
Oh,
four wolf spiders a day.
nope. And I'm really
Uh oh.
for it's going to be to get us a lot of chickens. Gonna need some yard
You
birds,
froze there for a
chickens and
second.
guineas. Yeah, you did that a little earlier too.
Anyways,
But
chickens
anywho,
and guineas for the ticks, I'm presuming, is what you were saying.
oh, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
we are continuing with Alexis Patterson's case today. So, before we get started, while we understand that some individuals listen for the entertainment aspect of true crime, it's important to remember that these are real people with families and friends who may still be suffering from their loss. These stories are not meant to open old wounds or cause further emotional damage to those involved. We remind you to please be respectful and do not dox or contact those involved with cases. The case discussed in this podcast today may be disturbing to some listeners, and listener discretion is advised. Once again, as far as trigger warnings go, there is domestic violence and a minor is involved. So, I will try to warn you before anything big happens again. However, just take into consideration that that might be coming up shortly.
Goody.
So, when we left off, Alexis's case had been kept out of national media coverage, despite there being coverage for several other white missing females in the United States. Police Chief Arthur Jones stated that Alexis's case was absolutely being treated differently than other missing girls, and he even went as far as to comment on the news media racial bias. So, on January 3rd of 2003, a probe was placed in for the Alexis Patterson disappearance, and it was being led by Judge Jeffrey Kremers. The probe, this John Doe, would allow officials to be subpoenaed witnesses to testify in front of the judge behind closed doors, in which case he could indict somebody for Alexis's disappearance after hearing testimony. On May 3rd of 2003, another candlelight vigil was held by the family and friends to honor the anniversary of Alexis's disappearance. So it's 1 year now.
Yep.
Then on May 9th, LaRon was arrested for threatening Ayana with a knife after he demanded to know who she had been paged or texted by.
Ooh.
On April 15th of 2003, LaRon was charged with disorderly conduct and battery while armed. And according to Ayanna, he'd become possessive and controlling as of recent, further stating that LaRon did not comfort her during the difficult time of her daughter's disappearance.
But he jumped in and was helping with everything at that time. Is she just like being
Behind closed
a
doors,
twat?
it might not have been as lovey-dovey as it was being seen in the news media.
Well, stress can do that to you
Oh
too.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Stress does a lot of crazy things.
yeah.
So in May of 2004, WTMJ TV, a local news outlet, reported a tip sent to police from an individual in prison who stated that Alexis's remains were buried in a southern state near a metropolitan area.
That's kind of a.
I know, it's kind of all over the place. However, that's
I'm
what they
like,
were getting for the tip. I'm like,
you're talking
where?
Wisconsin, and how many states are below
Hmm.
Wisconsin? Kind of vague there, bud.
So, Police Sergeant Keith Harris stated to the media that police are following a lead in a southern state but declined to elaborate any further on the topic. The investigation turned its focus to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and 4
Oh.
detectives flew out to the area. A spokesman with the Baton Rouge Police Department stated that Milwaukee investigators had gotten in touch with the department several weeks earlier. So I'm presuming
Oh.
this may have happened before the tip, that they started thinking that there was something going on down there.
Interesting.
The Milwaukee investigators worked with the Baton Rouge Police Department regarding her case, and the Baton Rouge spokesman stated that they would be assisting and cooperating in any way that they could with the investigation. On April 2nd of 2011, Ayanna held a honorary Sweet 16 birthday party nearly 9 years after she had disappeared.
No.
Then, on March 11th of 2012, a list of 44 victims' names were found on a computer in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, you got to be fucking shitting me. We going full circle?
After Israel Keys was arrested,
God
the
damn
FBI took
it!
possession of his laptop and his girlfriend's computer. On it, they found that he had been looking up missing persons cases on the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, also known as NamUs. One of these searches and names that was added to his list was that of Alexis Patterson. However,
Thought that name sounded familiar.
it's unlikely that Keys abducted Alexis. However, it is still a lingering question if he did.
Oh, we can go on about this one for hours and days and weeks and months and
Oh,
years.
absolutely. And there is an article out there, and there is an individual that claimed to be an expert in keys. I'm not sure how he got the information because I couldn't find it in the records, because I literally had, this is what was taking me forever, was I went pulling back through Israel's records and all the police department findings and all the FBI findings and everything that I had written out. But he stated that there was a kill kit in Wisconsin that would have been
Oh, that
near
wouldn't surprise me
Milwaukee.
at all.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm presuming that he's most definitely a little bit within that ballpark of there's something there. However,
Exactly.
he also makes mention how Israel had a red truck at the time. However, as we know from Israel, he usually rents vehicles to commit his
I was
crimes.
gonna say
He
exactly.
doesn't use his own vehicles usually.
No, and he doesn't. I wouldn't see him as grabbing right there either. That sounds like it would just be way too close
Hmm.
to be caught for him. He was just ultra sneaky.
And that's another point that he stated as to, because he doesn't think it's Israel either.
Okay, good.
Israel really didn't go into big metropolitan areas to
Mm-mm.
commit his crimes. If he
Yeah.
did, it was a rare case. And in 2002, his daughter would have been about a year old at this time, and he told the police after her birth he didn't or couldn't target children anymore.
Yeah, and that's still one of those things. It's like, did he actually
Did he
stop.
actually stop doing that, or is he just saying that so he doesn't get targeted in prison further?
Yeah. But then again, you could also go to which we also speculated too on Israel Keys was maybe he was on Namus looking up other killings to see if.
Kind of doing this Dexter style of
Yeah, that's kind of what
vengeful
I
going
wonder.
after other serial
Yeah,
killers or other
well,
individuals.
I don't. Yeah, that type of
I
thing. Seeing
mean,
if he can the stalker stalking the stalker.
maybe,
That
but
would
at
be
the same
actually kind
time,
of fascinating. But
it would
yeah,
be fascinating, but in the same in the same breath as this, the likelihood of that happening is super
it's zero.
super fucking
Yeah,
low to zero.
yeah. But I would not doubt him having a kill kit somewhere in Wisconsin.
Oh,
I would not
absolutely.
put it in Milwaukee. It would have to be suburbs of.
Yeah.
And
Away
honestly, if
from
you
the
think
city,
about,
in
yeah,
smaller
I was gonna say,
towns, smaller
if you
areas
think
that
about it,
don't have that police force to go after a missing
yeah,
persons case.
he liked shit that was not to freak you out, but in the woods type of thing. He
Oh, yeah,
liked
absolutely.
people that were,
He was very
no,
national park styled killer. That's
yeah,
usually where he picked off his victims at.
well, that's what
Occasionally it
made
would
him a
be on the streets of somewhere. Like I think the biggest case that he had was
was
in
Samantha.
Anchorage, and it's Samantha.
Yeah, I was gonna say
However, you also
Samantha.
have the case of the missing woman in New York City.
Was
That's
that
his
him?
too.
Well, yeah, he claims it, so
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just, well, and that usually was a crime of opportunity. Samantha's was absolutely an opportunity. He was just going to rob the store, and it was like, ooh, I can do more.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody's here.
Nobody's
Yeah.
here.
So, yeah.
And then he further
Anywho,
explained that he was waiting for the boyfriend to come back, and when he didn't,
so he could have two at a time.
he
Yeah.
could have two, because he, as much as people say that he doesn't have an MO, he definitely does target couples more.
It was the thrill of being able to do two at once.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was, in all reality, I hate to put the term on him, but he was a super predator.
Oh, he was absolutely.
Yeah. He
He's a scary
like
son
we.
of a bitch.
Oh God, I'm just pissed that they fucked that up so bad that we don't know. We could have probably learned a lot more from him if the FBI hadn't fucked it up so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, alphabet agencies.
So before we get started in this next portion, here's the trigger warning for a very, very rough portion of this, and it is child abuse.
Mm.
On November 22nd of 2013, Kenya Campbell woke his mother up to tell her that his 8-month-old daughter fell. The baby was taken to a local children's hospital where several other injuries were discovered.
Mm.
Children's Hospital told police that the girl had suffered abusive head trauma caused by a massive, violent assault that could have easily resulted in death. She had a broken jaw, which would be extremely painful and
Oh,
could
poor
result
baby.
in a brain injury, a lacerated liver, and adrenal hemorrhaging, which would indicate a focal point blow from a possible fist or foot, and a fractured rib along with bruising to her face, abdomen, and chest.
How old was this baby?
8 months.
Oh my fucking God.
This was the point that night that I went, I can't do this anymore. And I was just crying. I don't understand how parents can do this to their children. I don't fucking get it.
I don't either. I really don't. I can understand the frustration of when the child's crying all the time and
You put
you
them
just want
down
to make it
somewhere that
stop,
they're
but
safe and you walk the
yeah.
fuck away.
Yeah, because you used to, when you were doing the colicky shit, we'd throw you in your, well, wouldn't throw, we'd put you in your crib, make sure everything was secure around you and that you couldn't get in or out, shut the door, and go away. We'd be downstairs in the front room watching TV or something, still had the baby monitor on, we'd shut the volume off so we could see it spiking when you were crying and stuff, and then eventually you would calm down and either start playing or go to sleep. But oh my God, I just no. You oh my God.
No, it kills me. It absolutely fucking kills me. So,
Yeah.
according to Electronic court records. Kenya was also convicted in June of 2009 for the manufacturing and delivering of cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
Then in Milwaukee County, he was convicted again for the possession of marijuana and cocaine possession with plans to deliver in 2004.
Mm.
In May of 2016, a man came from Ohio stating that his ex wife is Alexis Patterson because the woman didn't remember her childhood. To which I
Ooh.
literally wrote down in my notes, well, calm down there, Anastasia.
Anastasia.
But this woman was able to actually supply credible paperwork to prove that she was not Alexis and basically was
Okay.
like, okay, my ex husband's just fucking with you guys. Like, this is my credible paperwork. Here's this and this. I may not remember my childhood, but I know who I am. And the police then asked if she would be willing to go ahead and submit a DNA test just to be sure.
Hmm.
And the woman agrees, and the results come back negative.
Okay.
So on January 19th of 2021, the last person to see Alexis in 2002 was found dead in his home. LaRon and his wife Michelle were both discovered in the home deceased. And the medical examiner did note that the couple had a history of drug abuse, but toxicology
Okay.
results were pending at the time of the press release. According to the uncovered side of things, though, in that website, the cause of death was ultimately ruled a drug overdose
For both of them.
for both of them.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna do like murder suicide, and I was gonna say, oh Jesus Christ, how
Mm-mm.
twisted can this get? But this one's pretty twisted. So.
Yeah.
Uh,
There is a theory that police believe may have happened the morning that Alexis disappeared. Her parents had argued about her bringing cupcakes to school. When her mother didn't allow it, she became upset. When Laurent dropped her off at the crossing guard, she instead waited for him to leave and then returned back home to get the cupcakes. Now,
Sounds like something a 7-year-old would do.
in this theory, Laurent, Ayana, or both physically disciplined Alexis upon returning home, and the beating went too far, with Alexis becoming fatally injured. Alexis could have possibly been laying in the basement bleeding when somebody called the hospital, but hung up upon realizing that she was actually dead. Then, using a duffel bag that Ayana had borrowed from a friend, which this friend stated to police that it was big enough to fit a body. However, Ayana states that it was not much larger than a basic tote bag. They moved Alexis's body to the trunk of Laurent's car, driving away to dump the body. And then later that morning, her stepfather and mother doused the car and basement in bleach to remove any blood.
I
Now,
have a question about that. I was gonna say, wouldn't the bleach like change the color of the fabric on the floorboard in the trunk of the
yeah,
car?
it would.
Yeah, that
So
would be a big fucking indicator.
that would be a big fucking indicator. And then, secondarily, where there was an indication of presumed blood from that liminal test, it was the back passenger seat behind the driver. So
Exactly.
it wouldn't have been in the trunk. Additionally, you got to think that these are people coming forward and talking possibly months later to years later after all this has gone down.
Hmm.
And you don't know if somebody's holding a rough bias against somebody else or if this is just hearsay on certain aspects of
Or
witness
guesstimations.
claims. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this theory in itself, it's not necessarily a horrible one. I understand where police are going with it because honest to God, the sad reality of most child homicides is that they are done at the hands of their
The parents.
parents. That
Yeah.
is a horrible reality to come to terms with. But then you also have to remember that most murders or homicides are done by a close family member, friend, or acquaintance. It's
Yeah.
very rare that you have cases of stranger related homicide, which would be like your serial killers.
Serial killers. Yeah.
So that's one of the theories that police came up with. There's another theory, though, that Laurent, who at the time was a low level drug dealer, reportedly ripped off other drug dealers in the 3 years prior to Alexis vanishing.
Hmm.
According to police records, he had also been robbed by his rivals, and authorities have long theorized that her disappearance was related to his criminal activities. Additionally, now looking back, Kenya was also dealing, so I mean, there's that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
LaRon had actually been robbed twice, according to Ayana. One once several years prior to Alexis going missing, and then again in 1999. With the robbery in 1999, a man pulled a gun on Ayana and led her into the house where she was held at gunpoint until LaRon got home. At which point the man left, and like, it's unclear to Ayana if LaRon had given him anything like money or drugs to make him go away. Because
Right.
once he showed up, they told her to get the hell out into another room.
And she didn't run screaming to the police. Gee, there's a surprise.
So, another two relatives of Ayana provided information to the drug related robberies, which didn't quite match Ayana's story. One relative noted that in June of 2000, Ayana had set the alarm to the house and went outside when it tripped off as she was going like off her property. So she went, okay, something bugged, and goes back to see why. And inside are two men with guns. And they told her that she needed to get a hold of little Ron right away. In total, they took $1,700 and half an ounce of cocaine from LaRon when he arrived home.
Dude is in the wrong business.
Now, Mark Williams, a prosecutor assigned to Alexis's case, stated someone owed a debt, perhaps a drug debt, and they used Alexis as a pawn to try to collect that. According
Uh,
to an anonymous tipster, it wasn't unheard of for the dealers in LaRon's circle to resort to kidnapping.
yeah. And then if the kidnapping goes wrong, or you need to
Mhm.
reinforce and put a little, yeah, that's sad.
The year before Alexis went missing, a tipster claimed that LaRon and three other men abducted a 17-year-old girl from La Crosse, Wisconsin, and they received $50,000 and 15 grams of heroin in exchange for the teen's safe return.
Jesus Christ.
Along with this, multiple informants stated and started coming forward with their own stories about how LaRon had ripped off not only the supplier, but also the kingpin above him, and he owed $80,000.
Yeah, that'll do it.
The information that stated that they took Alexis down south where she was being held by one of the supplier's sisters. Another inmate claimed the supplier said that he was fine going to prison for drugs, but he couldn't take the AP case, meaning the Alexis Patterson case.
Right.
Further stating that on the morning of May 3rd, 2002, the supplier and his close associate drove up on LaRon and Alexis, and LaRon took off, leaving Alexis alone. The associate
That would not surprise me.
then grabbed her and drove off.
But I'm thinking that might have attracted some unwanted attention.
I mean, if LaRon's known for dealing drugs and being around these people, and she kind of, I would presume, knows them a little bit, it might not have. Because it might have just been as simple as, like, hey, Alexis, come on.
I don't know.
And she didn't go
evidently,
kicking and screaming.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Well, but even then, just him taking off and running, the neighbors would have to have seen
Something.
something. You would think, and especially the crossing guard if she's only 200 feet away from the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A third inmate stated the supplier told him Alexis might be in a better place than she was at home. And when asked if he would snatch a girl for the supplier, this inmate or reporter stated, "That's the game," with a shrug.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A fourth tipster who gave a statement to his attorney present said he'd be willing to testify, saying that he asked the supplier if he'd shot Alexis, to which he responded by taking both of his hands and making a twisting motion as if strangling or breaking somebody's neck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why waste a bullet when you're strong enough to do it by hand? Which is, it's sad. It's a sad
Hmm.
reality, but yeah.
When this inmate further asked about the location of Alexis, the supplier became very evasive and only would say something about a construction site.
Mm.
10 years after Alexis went missing, another inmate told a cold case detective that Laron should have paid his drug debt. Then, the very last theory I have for you today is that of Eric Robert. And Eric Robert was a man who was native to Wisconsin and later began a life of crime in South Dakota. In 2005, he posed as a cop to pull over a teenage waitress. He told her to get out of the car and then pushed her into the trunk.
Ooh.
What he didn't
Oh no.
realize was that she had a cell phone on her person and she called for help.
Good on her.
He was convicted of kidnapping and sentenced to 80 years in prison. Now, a woman from Cable, Wisconsin, who worked with Eric at a old telemark lodge in the 1990s, stated that she saw Eric rescue a little black girl who was running out into the road that afternoon of May 3rd, 2002.
Rescue or take?
Mm.
Yeah.
She said rescue. I think take.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where you rescuing her from? Herself?
Eric was also reportedly driving a red truck, which some witnesses reportedly saw outside of Alexa's school before she vanished.
Mm.
Police do doubt this theory, as the woman who had suspected Eric stated that the idea had come to her as part of a repressed memory. So it's not a fully credible source.
Okay. Which would understand if she's saying rescued.
Yes.
So that kind of
And
makes sense now.
as I discussed earlier while we were off call between episodes, Ayana is pretty reluctant to come forward to media. She still wants coverage on her daughter's case and she still vehemently tries to get that coverage. However, with just how the media has portrayed this case, in her opinion, to being the bad person, she feels the distrust and the dislinkage between media and victims. So,
Didn't she overdose?
no, Ayana's fine.
It's the
Laron and
stepdad.
his new wife, Michelle, overdosed.
Okay, God,
So,
sorry. I'm like getting all these confused names. I'm trying to figure out who the heck Kenyon is too, because I know you said it, but
Kenya is the biological father of
oh, okay. Oh,
Alexis.
yep, 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 yep. Okay, I'm kind of. I'm sorry.
Let me do a family
I'm like,
tree real quick.
I'm like, I went to the bathroom, came back, and was absolutely confused. Evidently, I pissed away my brain.
But yeah, Ayana has been very reluctant to come forward and talk with media anymore just because of the way that this case was portrayed in the media and focused very heavily on them and not Alexis.
I I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, media.
And especially when she herself is a secondary victim to abuse happening within the home as well. And it's seen with Laron being charged with basically almost killing her.
Yeah.
There's only so much that she can do in being trapped in a scenario like that. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is the police could have gave her a little bit more assurance of helping.
Hmm.
But yeah, especially with the drugs and everything
The
involved.
thing that absolutely drives me nuts is that they considered her a runaway. And I
Oh, they always
understand
do.
where they were coming from with that because it was, and not to be completely rude, it was a dysfunctional home. Like,
But
no kid's
still,
gonna want to stay in that. So it's
yeah, I
understandable to
understand that
theorize that
too.
she ran away, but coming straight out of the gate on a 7-year-old girl, whether she ran away from home or not, you go balls to the walls on that. You
Well, that's my
find
thing.
her.
That's one of the things that pisses me off the worst is it's like as soon as somebody goes missing or yeah, and you call, oh nope, they're a runaway, and it's like, how do you friggin' know that? You're labeling somebody this. I'm telling you they're not. They're that, and yet you're
Hmm.
still insisting that they're this.
Oh, absolutely.
And especially if I know my child, if you were to go missing and they say, "Oh, well, she ran away," I'm like, "The fuck she did?" Because the only person she'd run from would be me, and I am not chasing her. So no, she is not a runaway. So yeah, it's like, why won't the police believe the parents first, question them second?
Yeah.
I I don't get that. And I turn around and say, well, because the majority of the kids that go running away are truly runaway. But it's like, you should still treat them as missing, not runaway, until you know for sure that they're
That is the
runaways.
case. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
But
the
no,
worst
we
thing that can happen is that you use resources, you find a kid that's ran away, but they're home safe. Because even
yeah.
when we discussed, I believe it was Sophie Reeder on this podcast, and it was me and James, there are times that kids do run away from home, but usually there is an intent to return at some point. And when they don't
It's a
return,
definitive.
that's when the problem hits.
Well, there's also a definitive reason of where they actually ran away to.
Yeah, that as well.
There's a cause.
There's a cause,
So
and usually they're found within 24 hours. Usually.
yeah. But the sad thing is
There's a point where a
I
runaway
fully
becomes a
blame.
missing persons case and a detrimental one
Yeah.
because children are very vulnerable.
Well, and that's the thing is like, oh, labels runaway. If they don't come home in 12 hours, then we'll upgrade it. No, you fucking do it now.
Mm-hmm.
In 12 hours, they can be off this goddamn continent and someplace else if they're snatched. It I it drives me absolutely insane when they say, "Oh, well, they're runaway. We'll just wait for them." It's like, no, get on it now.
Absolutely. So Anna is filled with hope that her daughter will one day return home to her, vowing to keep searching for answers. Even with her being gone for that long, it hurts like hell. But I've turned my pain into power.
Good for her. I can't
So
imagine having a
I
child missing. It was
I
bad
couldn't
enough when
either.
your aunt went flipping out and disappeared for a couple of years.
Yeah, no, that was rough. That was really
That was real
rough.
rough. That
Um
was horrible rough.
I'm like after cuz I was around Wes when he was younger, and then
Hmm.
just reigniting that with seeing Aurora. I would be absolutely beside myself if those kids went
Hmm.
missing. I could not imagine my own. I couldn't. I could
Yeah,
not imagine that pain.
you can't. It's unimaginable until it actually happens to you, and that's what so many people dissociate from this stuff
Mhm.
because it's never happened to them. So therefore, they can't get
Oh
that
yeah.
physical or mental wall breached. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's like, oh God, my heart just breaks for people that lose their children, or somebody just wandered off, or the senior alerts that go out around here, which are getting really astronomical around
Yeah.
here. I don't know what the hell's going on, but
But it's
you
like
know,
you see this picture of this sweet baby, and she's the one thing that I notice is that she's got the little bubble ornaments in her head, the ones that you used to smack me in the head with all the time.
yeah,
I'm like, it's
brave,
so early 2000s, and the fact that she is my age.
yeah,
This was
that's what's
happening when I was
really
7.
tough.
It's
Yeah,
tough. And it's realizing that we may never have an answer. I hope that we do
no,
one day, and I hope that with Othram and other DNA profiling databases, there is an answer one day.
not to change the subject, but Paul Holes posted something about Othram being used for. I can't remember the whole thing, and I went, "Ooh, I need to send that to Katie," and then it was gone because just like I went and peed and lost my memory on that one. Yeah, old age is a good one, kids. But no, and while you were telling the story of Alexis, my brain went to Namakwa Elementary School,
Hmm.
and I was placing the
Everything there,
vehicles and
and
all
that's
that
what
kind of,
I
and
did,
that's
yeah.
yeah, it's like literally my brain, and that's why I said it's like I knew just about, and that school wasn't small. I knew who drove what and who was with who type of thing. That was just me. I I was
The
on
thing
top
that
of that, and
baffles me is that the school did not call when she did not show up for class. And then secondarily,
And somebody had seen it.
you have
Reports
reports
of her.
of a SUV and a
Hmm.
truck that's been parked there for weeks, not dropping kids off, not doing anything, not picking anybody up, but it's there during the school hours and then it's gone. Whose fucking truck was that? And why didn't you guys get a license plate?
I guess I'm more of I'm highly suspicious of people and their actions. I see strange shit and I'm
Oh, yeah.
skull fucking them and watching. I have always been that way. I trust absolutely zero. So yeah, I was like I said, when I'd forget to call you in that you were sick or whatever, and I forgot to call the school or
Mm-hmm.
something, which didn't happen often. It
But
was
it
like
happened
once,
occasionally.
maybe. Yeah, it's like you're cleaning up vomit or something like that. I can understand that, but usually by first hour when the teachers take attendance and it goes to the office and they say, Katie's not here, and they go, oh, but Katie's mom hasn't called in, nor has her father. We better check.
Mm-hmm.
We just had excellent ladies that were in our front office because, yeah, I'd get calls from them if you weren't there.
Yeah.
So, yep.
And the only other thing that I could possibly imagine that went wrong is that attendance was taken in the morning when it should have been. However, it didn't make it down to the office until that afternoon.
Yeah, that could happen.
That could
Usually it
have
didn't,
happened.
but it could have happened.
However, if you're missing somebody in your class and it's an unexcused absence, that's going to raise red flags, especially for a 7-year-old girl.
And exactly, and
Why
especially
would
if
she
other
cut
children
class?
saw her. Well, I don't know of any kid that did that.
No,
But
not
if
until like
other
middle
children,
school or high school.
right, and if the teachers are calling attendance and they say, I'm going to use you, Katie Gardner, and somebody goes, oh, she was here earlier. I'm sorry, but that'd send me into a panic as a teacher.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely
I'd be like,
shit my fucking pants as a teacher. I'd be like, "What do you mean she was here earlier? Where is she?
I saw her out on the playground, and it's like, are you
Is she
sure?
still
Like,
out there?
yeah,
Did she come in from?" And it's like
exactly.
then you start going
That,
and you search, and you
and I'm
get
not
the other
saying that it
teacher
was,
to look for your class real quick.
and it wasn't too far back in time. This was back in the what 2002.
Mm-hmm.
It's not inconceivable, but that wouldn't happen because it literally was. It would happen there because we had a
Mm-hmm.
kid go missing and he turned up. Unfortunately, he was a special needs child that basically wandered into the library and nobody saw him in the library. And oh yeah, they shut the school down and called
Mm-hmm.
parents and made sure that, and finally he showed up because it was lunchtime and he was hungry. So, but yeah, that's do you know who I'm talking about too? Your little buddy
Yeah,
Caleb, I think is
Caleb.
his name.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I remember
yeah,
that. I remember that
yes,
happening, and all of us were
yes.
so worried about him. And then he showed
Well,
up for
and
lunch, and we're like, "We've been looking for you." And he just kind of like smiled at us, like, "What?"
yeah, and that's the thing is, even as I wasn't even his friggin' parent, but we got a phone call saying that the school was on lockdown because one of the children were missing. And that, oh my God, talk about a panic. I'm like, was it mine? Why am I getting it? And it's like, no, calm down. One of our special needs children, he was here. He wandered off. We're looking for him right now. I don't know where he
Mhm.
was hiding in the library that they couldn't find him because, yeah, until it got closer to lunchtime and he came out for lunch and it was like, oh my God, where the hell were you, Caleb? Such a
Yeah.
sweet little bean. But
I just
yeah.
remember poor Miss Rogie just coming out like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. I was like, oh. So, yeah. And it's like, you would think that if they actually did see her on the playground and said something about it, teachers would have maybe made an effort
Mhm.
back then, especially.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something doesn't ring right about that whole situation.
Yeah. And
I'm
again,
like,
like I said, it could have been a little kid saying, yeah, I saw him. And it's like, are you sure it wasn't yesterday? Well, it could have been. And it's like, then you got
yeah.
that excuse.
You've got so many different eyewitness accounts here, and to start off with, eyewitness accounts can be unreliable because
Oh, absolutely.
people aren't paying that close attention. Like, I think one of the best demonstrations that I have seen ever is there's a clip out on YouTube of kids playing basketball, and it asks you to count how many times the basketball hits the ground. Well, you're counting the basketball, and by the end they go, did you see the man in the gorilla suit walk through? And
It's like, no, I wasn't
80% of
looking for
people
that.
won't see it.
Oh, shit. And then they turn around, rewind it, and watch, and sure shit, here he comes. And it's
Mhm.
like, how did I miss that? Because you're so hyper focused on
What's
one
happening
thing.
on something else
Mhm.
that you're missing something
Yeah.
entirely different go on. And that gives you an explanation as to why eyewitness accounts aren't very reputable.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Oh my god, there's
So
a kitten here making all kinds of noise. I think she's hungry.
that, unfortunately, is all the information I have for you today regarding Alexis Patterson. We're going to go ahead and run through her profile one more time, give you guys those numbers, and we're going to end off this episode today. So, Alexis S. Patterson is female. She is African American. Her height is 3 foot 8 inches. Her weight would have been 42 pounds. Her eye color is brown. Her hair color is brown. Her hair description would be it's just below shoulder length. At the time of the disappearance, she had 2 French braids, front to back, on each side of her head that were combined into a ponytail in the back. There were no beads or distinguishing hair ornaments in her hair at the time of her disappearance. The last date of contact is May 3rd of 2002. She is missing from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Her age at the time of her disappearance was 7 years old, and her age at the time of the recording of this podcast is 29. Alexis has a scar under her right eye and a bump on her left pinky finger. She was last seen wearing a red hooded jacket with gray stripes, a purple shirt, and blue jeans, with a pair of white Nike tennis shoes. Her name's profile number is MP3071. Her NCMEC number is 934881. If you or anyone you know has any information regarding the disappearance of Alexis Patterson, you are asked to contact the Milwaukee Police Department at 414-935-7405. That number again is 414-935-7405. Or you can call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's hotline at 800-843-5678. That number again is 800-843-5678. Thank you again for listening to Spattered. Please make sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at Spattered Podcast and on X at Spattered Pod. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you're watching on YouTube, like this video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to be notified when the show goes live or drops a video. As always, if you have a case request, any questions, or are interested in sponsoring the show, please email me at spatteredpodcast@gmail.com. Spattered is a true crime podcast hosted by Caitlin Gardner and Sarah Ray. The research and edits for this episode were done by Caitlin Gardner. All the music for the show was done by Lucio Cardenas. We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. And remember, the truth is always in the blood.